Hello and welcome everyone to our lunch and learn session today. We're going over prescribing module in Zedmed. So just focusing on prescribing only. First we'll start, I'll talk you through the agenda shortly. Now just housekeeping, if you can mute your microphone once you dial in, that'd be great. If you've got any questions, there's a chat at the bottom of your little screen there that you can send us your questions. If there's any questions I'm unable to answer in our session today, leave your contact details and we can book in a call and get back to you. Don't forget all our lunch and learn sessions are recorded and we do post them up on our website. Now, what we'll be covering today, we'll look at MIMS install and update. And I'll talk you through some of the requirements for MIMS. Prescribing module, so this is in clinical print script. We also have batch script print in clinical as well. We'll go through how to print a medication list for a patient, and I'll talk also about recipe drugs, how you can create them, how you can edit them. And as I go through the prescribing module, you'll see SafeScript there and how it works in Zedmed. I'll just close out of my PowerPoint. Okay. Now to update MIMS, it seems like a few people are unable to hear me okay. Okay. Okay, we'll keep going. And like I said, if you're unable to hear me, I'll have this recording up on our website this afternoon. Okay, so MIMS, when we talk about MIMS and how it works in Zedmed, so in clinical for the prescribing module, and I'll bring that up, wrong screen, bring that up here. So when you go into a patient's clinical file and start an encounter, so for this one, so for you to be able to access the drugs module in the encounter screen, you need to have a current MIMS subscription. To contact MIMS, you'll find them on, you can Google them, you'll find them online. To download and install MIMS on our website, if you come into www.zedmed.com.au, there's download up the top right-hand side. And we do put up every time MIMS update their database, we do put up a copy online. So you can just simply come here and download. Now remember this, to update and install MIMS, you need to download this file onto the server. So once the file is on the server, it'll look something like this. You'll get this icon and it says MIMS for Zedmed May 2020. And simply right click, run as admin. Every month MIMS will send you a password. The only thing you need to do is run as admin, enter the password, restart Zedmed or clinical after that, and it'll work. So simple as that. So every month, even though MIMS released the file earlier, sometimes they release the file earlier to the 1st of every month. It's best to just run this file 1st of every month. They do give you, I think, 5 to 10 days. If you have an update the 1st of every month, I think you can get up to 10 days. You can still use MIMS, and then it'll come up that it'll pop up with a notification that you need to update your MIMS in Zedmed. So don't forget, MIMS is it's basically a third party that integrates with Zedmed. So for subscription, you need to sign up with MIMS, and Zedmed provides you with the file. Now, how to check if your MIMS is up to date or not. Once you log into Clinical, you can click on the MIMS icon up the top here, next to scan. If I click onto MIMS, now right up the top, you see View Drugs, MIMS Database Issue April 2020. So for me, I need to update my MIMS to May 2020 now because mine's out of date, but I can still use it. That's how you can tell. So that's how you can tell if you know the what version of MIMS you're having, which month. Now, so that's install and update. So you get the file from our website. Make sure, very important, do it on the server. If you're version 30 and below, if you're below version 31, 28, 29, version 30, when you run MIMS, it'll basically kick everyone out of Clinical. So you need to make sure that their doctors are not consulting, for example. If you're on version 31, you can run MIMS at any time. It won't have any impact on the Zedmed services. Once you finish running MIMS or updating, then you just need to restart Clinical. Now, if you're not sure what version of Zedmed you're using, when you log into Zedmed, down the bottom, you've got build 30.4.2, for example. So that's how you know what version of Zedmed you're using. I'm using version 32, which is a version that's due to come very soon, very, very soon, in the next couple of weeks. So if you're below version 31, you need to run MIMS. Best to run it after hours when a doctor's not consulting. If you're version 31 and above, you can run it at any time. It won't interrupt the service. I'll just come back to, so that's MIMS. The data that's inside the MIMS database, that's given to us by MIMS. We basically take the data, convert it into a format that's acceptable for Zedmed to work, and that's what you see in there when you go into prescribe, when the doctor goes into prescribe drugs. So to prescribe a medication to a patient, I'll just start again. So when a doctor bring a patient into from their waiting room, or even opening them up in Clinical, most of the time it auto starts the encounter. Otherwise, you can hit the play button and it'll show up with the encounter icons up the top here. Now on the left-hand side, you've got summary view. Any medications given to the patient, it'll come under, you'll see a list of those under medications, and it's under summary view on the left-hand side here, so down the bottom. If I'm prescribing a drug, I'll take you through prescribing regular, and also look at how you prescribe authority drugs. Before I enter a drug here, I just want to take you through a couple of things. So this is for MIMS search. So if you're looking to, sorry. you hear me? This is fine. I'll just.
Sounds like somebody's got their phone off mute.
Can you hear me, Chris?
Yes, we should all be able to hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. Where was I? I got to this part?
And you said, excuse me. No, not the screen. Back of it.
Not this. Ah, okay. Through here?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll start again. Sorry. So if I'll go into drugs, prescribe drugs. Now this is a MIMS search. On the left-hand side, there's favorites list. Doctors can add some of the scripts to favorites, especially if it's something that they often prescribe to patients. To the right-hand side, we have a one-off drug or new recipe drug, and I'll come back to that after I go through the prescribing. After I go through prescribing a drug. So if I'm going to look for one, so I'll prescribe just a regular drug. So if I'm looking at, I'll pick this one for example, double click, and I just also want to highlight when they come in to prescribe a drug, it's important that they set the allergies. Sometimes they get a pop-up to say if they haven't set the allergy for patient, it'll pop up to say they need to set it first before they prescribe a medication. So that's really important. So double click on the drug, hit prescribe. This is the script details screen. So what you'll find on the left-hand side is dosage. So if I'll click 1, for example, a frequency, so 3 times a day, and it's directed, or after meals or something, I'll just leave this. Now, what you'll see is that when you select a dosage, frequency, and instructions, they do pop up here in the text section. And down the bottom, you've got quantity repeat. So this automatically pulls from the MIMS database. You've got a script date, and you also have a estimated to last date. And you can also tick this to warn me when to renew a script. If you're using the calculator, which is the dosage calculator frequency as well, it does calculate the medicine estimated to last date. So it calculates this date here. If I clear this, so if I clear it and I free text, the system doesn't know what you're typing, so a doctor will then need to go and set this date manually. So see how it's still red because it doesn't actually pick up. So unless you use the dosage calculator. If you'd like to, in your clinic, if you'd like to change the frequency or edit some of the stuff that's in this list, you can do so by right-click and go to Update Frequency Items. And this is what you see on the screen, for example. So you can add new frequencies, you can delete frequencies, and also same goes to instructions. You can right-click, update instructions items. So these are things that you can adjust and edit in the script details screen based on what the doctors wants to be added here. You can remove some if you don't want to. On the right-hand side, you also see the MIMS reference information, MIMS dosage. If the doctor choose not to use the calculator or free text, they can simply copy the instructions on the right-hand side. So if I highlight this part as well, and you can paste, they can actually highlight this, right-click and paste to dosage. So that's another option. If they don't want to type it out, they can just copy the information from the MIMS dosage on the right-hand side. Drug use information comes up, If it's an authority, I'll come back to this when I prescribe a authority medication shortly. Authority information will pop up here. This is where they can add to favorite. So if there's a medication that they will frequently, that they're always going to prescribe to their patients, then they can just save this a favorite. That way it's easier when they prescribe next time for the next patient, for example. The PPS status is down the bottom here, whether it's private, authority. So these comes through automatically based on the information that's on the MIMS database. If the doctor wishes to change quantity, they can do so, and sometimes to repeat, they can do so here. You also have the option for short-term and regular use. There's drug notes here. So if the doctor wants to add drug notes and add it to the encounter as well, they can enter it here. Let me go add to encounter notes, and it'll do that for them. If it's a add to history down the bottom here, that's if a patient have been taking a medication that was prescribed to them by a different doctor at a different clinic or overseas, for example, and the doctor wants to enter it just so you can have a record of it in Zedmed. So they can just come in and enter it here and add to history. They don't have to prescribe it because they just want to add it to the patient's medications history. Now down the bottom here, this is new, and this will be covered next week. Our latest version of Zedmed that's due to come out shortly will have e-prescribing. So those features will be ready for our Lunch and Learn next week, and I'll talk you guys through it. That's in Victoria only, but currently you won't have the prescribe electronically on your script details, so I'll skip that. So to prescribe this drug, I'll simply go prescribe. On the left-hand side, you'll see the drug's been parked there to print. So it doesn't actually print it out until the doctor finishes prescribing all the medications required for that patient. I'll just prescribe a authority medication. So if I'm looking at methadone, for example, this is an authority drug. I'll just double click to prescribe, read through the warning summary. And again, it brings me to this, to the script detail screen. So I can then pick my dosage. So 3 times. And now what you'll now see, if you're version 31 and above, and you're integrated with SafeScript, you'll see there's an alert up the top here. It basically says, the patient, please check, this is the patient, please check SafeScript. There's an alert there. In Zedmed, it does a pre-check for SafeScript, so it doesn't actually give you any information about what the alert is. The doctor will need to log into the SafeScript portal to find out. To take them to the, if they want to log in straight to the SafeScript portal, they can simply click here and it'll take them online. Now the doctor can choose to click on the link, and if they don't click on the link to check, it won't stop them. They can still prescribe. So they can still prescribe. If they make any changes to the quantity, for example, if they make any changes to the quantity, it'll do another check with SafeScript. It'll do another pre-check. Same goes to repeats. This is authority, like I said. So we have, so this pops up because I changed the quantity. Now the authority details are down the bottom here, and what you'll find is PPS status. You've got authority ticked here. And if I go prescribe, it'll then pop up with the phone approval hotline. So you'll need to call this phone number, give them the patient's details, and they'll give you an approval number for the script. So I'll just give this one a dummy one. Here you'll see the text that'll appear on the prescription. So that populates there automatically. Now down the bottom, you've got authority. So once authority approval number is given and you've entered it here, you click authority and it'll park the script. Private, you can defer it. Defer if you are if you're going to prescribe another authority script and you just want to give the hotline one, just one phone call for 2 or 3 authority scripts for this patient, for example. Postal, if you are to post it. So I'm going to click on authority. It parks it on the left-hand side. Now with authority, if I didn't get an approval, I'll just bring up another one and I'll go prescribe. Oops. So this is just doing the SafeScript check. If I defer this and I want to print, and if I want to print my script, I won't be able to. Sorry, I just need to mute someone. I won't be able to. Thank you. Sorry, I won't be able to prescribe because I haven't actually entered the authority. So approval number is required, and there's no point of giving it to the patient if the authority approval number is not on the script, because they won't get the medication. Now for this one, let me go into another one. This one this is more a streamline authority. I'll just double click on that. So it's got the different codes and stuff here. And if I prescribe this medication, I'll just go prescribe. So you've got the streamline authority number here, which is the approval number. So these type of medications, the doctor don't need to call the hotline because the authority numbers are already loaded in Zedmed. So these are drugs that are classified as streamline authority. And again, when they come to this screen, the streamline authority numbers are down the bottom here. And depending which one they select, the text populate on the prescription here. So go authority. Now what you'll see also, whichever, let me see if I can, no I can't. What you'll see when a doctor prescribes the medication, down the bottom you've got current encounter. Whichever encounter that's open, that's where the script will populate. If there was another encounter open, you can select, and I'll show you what that looks like as an example. I'll go back to drugs. So what you'll find, I've got 2 encounter open down the bottom here. So whichever one's open, that's where the script will populate. If I prescribe this drug under one problem and I decide that it shouldn't be there, it should be moved on to the next one, I can simply right click and change problem. So I can change it, and then the script will then move from the first problem to the second problem, for example. You can also right click and reprint. You can reprint from this screen on the same day, on the same encounter. And if it's once an encounter is closed, then you won't be able to reprint the script from this screen. You're going to have to reprint it from somewhere else, and I'll show you that. If they've accidentally prescribed something that shouldn't be listed here, they can just simply right click and delete drug. And then they also can edit the script details from here. So if I go print the script, it'll print out all the scripts on the left hand side. Now, in terms of printing, Only what you'll find is that the medications I have here, they're different strengths. They will come up, they will print out one script per drug if I print this one out. The drugs that come out on the same script is, or if it's PPS, then it'll be printed in one script. Otherwise, each of these will be printed on their own script. So that's prescribing, and what you'll find on the left-hand side under medications, these are all the medications that I've prescribed. And just excuse the number of medications I've got here. Sorry, that's fine. It's just for training. If a patient loses their script, the doctor can come back the next day. If I go, let me just save this. Oh. Okay. If it's the next day, the doctor can come and edit the script and reprint it for the patient. On the left-hand side as well is where they can make a drug current or non-current. They can do an exact re-prescribe if the patient comes back again. If they're looking at methadone, for example, and they want to do a exact re-prescribe, when you go re-prescribe, it'll ask you, it'll take you again to the encounter screen. So I'm going to say yes for this one. It's just doing a SafeScript check because I've got that set up on my Zedmed. It should come up shortly. So again, it's doing a SafeScript check for the patient, and the doctor can click here to go and view and log into the SafeScript portal. So when they click here, it simply takes them to this website. So the doctor will have a login for SafeScript here. Then they can log in and check. Go prescribe. Now it brings me again to the prescribing window, and then you can simply print the script here again from here. Now, if you would like to print out the patient's medications list because they've come in and request for it, you can do so by, you can send out a template, you can set up a template for your clinic, or you can set out a template for your clinic, or you can, like this one, for example, I've got a template set under my quick documents, and it's got the list of medications for the patient. If you would like to add any more into the template, if you go view, data toolbar, it'll populate a data toolbar on your right hand side, and you can go clinical details, just expand it, and you can see, let me just move this one in. These are anything medications related that you can pull from the patient's file. So I've got the medications list pretty much all here, but if I want to add anything that was non-current, for example, I can simply double click and it should populate down the bottom here. I'll just close. If I want to save it, I can do so. I'll click yes, and it'll save it here that I have print out a medications list for the patient. So one of the things I mentioned in the beginning also is how to print out a batch script print. So any script that the doctors create and they don't print them, they can print it at the end of the day, or get reception on the manager to print it. So you can simply go into Clinical, go to Tools up the top, then you'll find Batch Script Print, and I'll just click onto that. So that populates with any script that needs to be printed. And if you hit print all, it'll print all of those out for you. Now with this window, once it's printed, it's gone, it clears it up. So if ever you have any issues with your printer and it doesn't, like you run out of ink or whatever, if it's still here, then you can still be able to print it. If it's been sent, once it's sent to the printer, it'll no longer be in this list. There's no history of it. So that's the batch script print. So again, you'll find that up the top, Tools and Batch Script Print here. So print out any script that has been printed. Next one is recipe drugs. So some doctors prefer to create their own, so that they can simply go into drugs up the top here and go to Prescribe New Drug, and new recipe drug on the left hand side, top right hand side. So if I just create this one, training, you can put in the quantity and repeat. And if it's a cream, select if it's PPS, so I'll just select PPS for this one and click OK. And then they can prescribe it. It'll be on their list as well. So they can come and prescribe it. What you then see is that, there's no MIMS dosage. No, it shouldn't be there because this is a drug that the doctor have set up. What you'll see is need to untick this box here, print recipe and dosage pane on script, because we don't want this to be printed on the script. So we can untick this and print it. And then the rest is fairly the same as when you prescribe a drug. So you enter the text, you've got your quantity here that you've set up this drug with, you've got your script date, and you can simply prescribe, it'll park it down the bottom left. If I go prescribe, it parks it here for printing. Now, I'm just going to show you also where you can find those recipe drugs that you've created. So if I go up here to Tools, and I'll go down to Clinical Setup and Recipe Drugs. So Recipe Drugs, and these are the drugs that I have created myself. So if I want to add it or make some of this inactive, I can do that from here. And I can add new ones as well from the screen. So if I'm looking to edit this one, say I want to change the repeat to 1 and click OK, and that'll change it. So that's how you can edit your recipe drugs. So you don't throw it the drugs module. You need to go to Tools, Clinical Setup, Recipe Drugs, and I'll give you all the list. I just want to run you through again on a SafeScript. So I'm going to go back into prescribing a medication. So remember at this point, SafeScript's only in Victoria, and it's the pre-check. It integrates with version 31 and above, and there's a better process. You need to contact us, so you need to have e-prescribing with MediSecure or ERX, and I'll take you through the settings shortly. I'm just going to prescribe this, and I'll take you through what SafeScript looks like again. So 2 times a day. So there. So if you're if your SafeScript been set up in your Zedmed, you'll find the banner popping up the top. If it's green, I'll show you what it looks like if it's okay. I'll just bring up another patient. So there's 3 colors. There's red, amber, and green. If it's green, it comes up for 10 seconds and it disappears. So let me go back into the same one. So if it's green, it pops up with the notification and then it disappears. If it's red, it stays there, or if it's amber. So if I go back into here, oops, wrong patient. So if I go back to Miss Jones, and this goes for a new script, even if you re-prescribe as well, it'll do a check and then it'll tell you. Oops, yes, prescribe. So that's doing a exact re-prescribe, but if I do a re-prescribe, okay, yes, prescribe. Now it'll do another check. So if it's amber or red, this notification will remain up the top here for the doctor to click here to go and check. Any questions?
Yeah, why? What's wrong?
Oh.
I'll come out and see. Is she going now?
Yep. Sorry, if you can put yourself on mute. If you've got any questions, can you send them through the chat? Okay. Got no questions so far. So what I've covered today is we were looking at where you download MIMS and how you update them on your clinic. So make sure you do that on the server. I'll just do a quick summary. So once you go into our website, you'll find download up the top right hand side. There, right at the top, you'll find MIMS update, the latest file. So you can download this. Normally we release this a week or 2 before the 1st of every month. So you can download it and then just run it 1st of every month or the 1st week of that month. And make sure this is done on the server. You will also need the password that's given to you by MIMS. Now, I did briefly mention ERX or MediSecure. So this is with e-prescribing. We've talked about SafeScript. One of the requirements for SafeScript and Zedmed is that you'll need to be with MediSecure or ERX to check who you're with. You can go to Zedmed Clinical, go Tools, Global Options, and Drugs. And down the bottom here, you'll see if one of them selected, that means you're you're with one of them. So if it's ERX or MediSecure. If it's none, and you'd like to sign up for e-prescribing, head into ERX website or MediSecure website and register your doctors there. If you're registering for ERX, they do make contact with Zedmed after, and we do the installation for you. If you register with MediSecure, they do the installation for you, not us. And just a teaser as well, we're looking at version 32 next week. This is electronic prescribing. So this is the new one that's coming up, and I'll take you through that next week, which is exciting. You'll also find under Tools, My Options, the doctors can go into their doctor profile and make changes to their encounter setup, for example. And there's an option here for drug options if they want to set their drugs default to short-term or regular or PRN. And these are some of the options that they can customize. If they have registered with SafeScript, they also need to come here and enable pre-checked, which allows Zedmed to do the SafeScript pre-checked for them every time they prescribe a medication that's considered high class. high-risk medication. So, yeah. Okay, now that's all I have for you today. We do record, like I said, we do record our session and put them up on our website, or you can go on to YouTube and you can find our sessions there. The next 2 weeks, we're looking at prescribing again, but we're looking at the near future, which is our new version, and also e-prescribing, which allows the doctors to send an SMS or email to patients, and they're always going to also have the option to print out a paper script. That's always going to be there. But what's new is the sending out the script electronically. So that's something exciting to look forward to. So that's going to be run for the next 2 sessions we have for Lunch and Learn. If you've got any questions, or if you want to book in a call with us, let me know. You can reach us on via email, implementations@zedmed.com.au. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.